What's going on, Jab Jab Talk Nation? It's your boy Ozil. The day after, actually just got up maybe about an hour ago. Was gonna record this video post fight, but man, I ended up going to bed. Actually, I ended up watching the post fight conference, and then I ended up knocking out. But I couldn't go on with my Sunday without sharing with you my thoughts on last night's fight between Vergil Ortiz Jr. and Serhii Bohachuk. I mean, I'm speechless. It was a fight. It was a fight for us boxing fans, first and foremost. Entertaining. It had everything from boxing to brawling to men, Ortiz going down a couple times and him coming back and him wobbling and almost knocking out Bohachuk, and then vice versa. And then both of them switched styles, or at least Ortiz did towards the end. And it came down to the championship rounds, and it was a little bit of controversy afterwards because people were screaming out robbery for Bohachuk, and all this happening in one fight, y'all. One fight between Ortiz and Bohachuk. So as far as fight fans, point blank, this is what great fights are all about. This is what keeps boxing alive, I think. It's just having these really good, top competitive fighters get in the ring and duke it out. I mean, this is what it's all about, right? Wow. Okay, so what are my thoughts? Where do I begin? And again, if this is your first time checking out the Jab Jab Talk YouTube channel, make sure you comment down below. But also, more importantly, if you dig the content, I'm not going to ask you just subscribe, but if you dig the content, I highly encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content like this, because it's all about jabbing about boxing, respecting each other's opinion, and sharing our love for this sport, the gentleman's sport. All right, so check this out. What are my thoughts? Man. All right, so I won't get too deep into the details, but I will say this. Ortiz came out, both of them came out aggressive. Ortiz came out looking to bang. Obviously, he was dropped. Bohachuk caught him, coming in. He threw an overhand right and caught Ortiz off balance and brought him to his hands, and he got back up and he continued on with the fight. And then it was just going back and forth. Like, it was really going back and forth. And then, we got to see, both of them take a lot of punishment. And then we got to see just them shifting back and forth. I do believe that Ortiz won the first half of the fight. And then Bohachuk had a couple there was close rounds. But Bohachuk, you could say in the mid rounds, he had his moments. And then I do feel like going into the championship rounds, I do feel like Ortiz turned it up and landed the more effective punches. Now, I know that there was another knockdown, and everybody's screaming robbery and saying, oh, how can he lose with 2 knockdowns in the fight and it being this close? I want to be honest with you. I need to watch the fight again, but just watching the fight, for the first, watching it live, I do feel that Ortiz did enough to win the fight despite being knocked down twice. And I think they counted 1, I believe. Why? Because I do believe that he landed the most effective punches. They were cleaner. We saw, I think his landing, his output was a lot higher than Bohachuk. I mean, we got to see it. I think he landed more punches that were more effective. And then the body punching, I think a lot of the critics and boxing fans that are sharing content like this, they're not talking about the body punching that Ortiz was delivering. That should be accounted for. He was pounding Bohachuk to the body. And even though he was headhunting and whatever, he didn't knock down Bohachuk, but he was delivering head blows, body blows. I mean, he put some punishment onto him. Both of them did, right? So I do feel like they both, was competitive with some close round fights, but I do feel like Ortiz did do enough. I do agree with the 115, 113 scoring. It was close, super, super close. And I understand why some of the fans thought that Bohachuk won the fight and some of the boxing critics or analysts. But I do feel that Ortiz did a little bit more, despite being, the knockdowns. He did a little bit more to pull it off, to edge it out. I do feel that. yeah, he looked, I think those championship rounds were pretty much where he needed to dominate. And I felt like the last 3 rounds, he was able to pull it off. And he came on strong. And what I love about Ortiz that we got to see is, we get to see, I mean, both of them are really technical fighters. They can brawl. They got their own styles. Both can take a punch. But I do feel like Ortiz was just going to the body and just showing a little diversity, a little versatility in his arsenal. And I love the fact that he switched up and started boxing. And I felt like if he could have boxed a little bit more and not brawl, especially in the mid rounds, I do feel like he probably would have eventually got the victory. I think he probably would have finished Bohachuk. But one of the things that I've noticed about Ortiz is that he's very impatient. He has such a killer instinct that even Garcia, his coach, has to tell him to pull back a little bit because he just wants to finish off. He hits hard. If he sees that you're hurt, he's going to go for the kill. But if you have a chin and have a heart, if you're a warrior like Bohachuk did and showed last night, it's could be very frustrating for Ortiz. And that's where Ortiz can kind of get in trouble because he started opening up. Bohachuk started landing some pretty big punches. And he hurt Ortiz. I mean, there was a couple times where Ortiz was doing the little wobbly head, the bobblehead, because, I mean, he hurt, and they both hurt each other. But, I felt like Ortiz needs to work on that a little bit more of not being so impatient and just being able to brawl. And if he turns it up in the first few rounds, but he also has to turn it up and make the adjustments, which he did, and get into more of a boxing ability. Because when he was throwing the jab, I mean, he was really throwing Bohachuk off balance. And I think he could have used his jab a little bit more to double jab to come in with some body shots and really kind of do some damage and put him out. But he didn't do that, Again, to all respect to Bohachuk, he was a tough fighter. And Bohachuk was not going down. The man was just tough as nails. Just a fight, fan-friendly guy. I mean, boxer. I mean, he's amazing to watch. So hopefully we get to see him again. So I do feel, again, my whole post thoughts is I do feel like Ortiz did pull it off. They both went to the hospital. They both came out pretty damaged. Even Ortiz looked pretty brutally battered and bruised. But I do feel like he put some damage, especially the body punching that Ortiz put on Bohachuk. I know he's going to be feeling it. Both of them are going to be feeling it today. So they both took some damage. They're both kind of damaged goods after this fight, honestly. Those are the type of fights that do change the career, Ortiz, I mean, they're both young. I think Ortiz is a little bit younger. I think he'll bounce back. But those type of wars, man, will take a lot out of a man. So it's going to be interesting how he can bounce back after, both of them taking a pretty severe beating. What's next for Ortiz? Is Ortiz ready for Crawford? I know there was an interview with Serhii Bohachuk, His Excellency, as they call him. I don't see him fighting Crawford just yet, especially after the beating that he took yesterday. I don't think it's a smart move. Maybe early next year. Do I feel that he can compete against Crawford? Yeah, I think he can make him competitive. He's strong. He has some abilities to really get Crawford some problems for sure. But he's got to work a little bit on his patience because Crawford is a little bit more when it comes to that. He's patient. His IQ is pretty high. And I think he can work that IQ and work it against Ortiz, So it'll be a competitive fight nonetheless. I mean, both of them will be champions, and I think it's going to happen. I think it should happen. I think it'll be a great, fun fight to watch. So I don't think it's so much of him being ready. I think, see how he bounced back. But he did say that he wants the winner out of Spence and Fedora. I think that would be a great fight. I think Ortiz knows that he needs a little bit more. He has his own path as far as his pathway to a big fight against Crawford. I'm not mad at him. I think it'll be a great fight to see him against the winner of Spence and Fedora or against Tim Tszyu. I think that would be another great fight. So I do see him going that path before Crawford next year. So we will see. I'm curious to know what you guys thought about the fight. What's next for Bohachuk? I mean, I think he's going to continue fighting and giving fight fans a great fights. I would not mind. I'm not mad at a rematch, but because they both took a beating, I just don't see it. I mean, this could be a trilogy, y'all. I mean, facts. I mean, it could be a trilogy because it was just so competitive, and they both got some boxing abilities and can bang. And yeah, this is a trilogy. But I don't think Vergil Ortiz knows that. I don't think that would be a smart thing for him to do if he wants a long-lasting career and to get big fights with big fighters like Crawford and Tim Tszyu and everybody else. So It's going to be interesting to see it. I did see an interview with De La Hoya. I think De La Hoya was also open to it. And he's like, hey, whatever Ortiz wants. So I respect De La Hoya because I think he knows that at the end of the day, they can go ahead and talk about Crawford and like just like they were pairing up Canelo and Crawford. But at the end of the day, guys, listen, let's be real. These fans are going to, I mean, these fights are going to pick who they want to fight too. They have, this is their body, their career, their brain. They're actually commanding their own ship. So I think it's interesting when promoters say something and start putting matches together and then everybody's like, yeah, they're going to fight. And then they start making assumptions and it's just a bunch of BS. I mean, I get it. It's part of the game. But at the end of the day, listen, the fighters are the ones that are in control of their ship, and they're going to make the decisions that's best for their career. And we're here to, whether we agree or disagree or criticize or not criticize, nonetheless, we're here to support, the state of boxing, I think that's what it's all about. So anyhow, that's it, y'all. I just wanted to shoot this video to share my thoughts on the Ortiz Bohachuk fight. I'm curious to know what you thought. Make sure you comment down below. What's next for Ortiz? What's next for Bohachuk? Did you think it was a robbery? Who do you have scored for winning this fight? So thanks again, y'all. I got more videos coming. I'm sure there's a lot more fights coming up. Of course, the big Canelo fight with Berlanga. A press conference. We need another press conference, man. I can't wait for the next one. Anyways, all right, that's it. We got some other big fights. I think it'll be boxing is amazing, y'all. It's great and it's alive, and it's a great time to be a fight fan. So thanks again, y'all. Y'all enjoy your day. Peace.